I mean, is Cooper Rush worth 2.5 points? I would hope Quinn Ewers put up a decent stat line against Arizona State. If he didn't, we have a real problem.
You can say the same thing about Creighton. Okay, they had the one good game against Kansas at home.
When Toast talks about the kicking market, it's like some earth is flat shit. Andy, true or false, this is going to be a dog walking.
Dog walking. This is my dog walking of the day. I think it's going to be very ugly. Dog walking. I think this is going to be ugly.
Hey, get this sword.
2 nights.
Wait, so what is the Survivor Series? Is another WWE pay-per-view?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanksgiving one, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it's like it's like it was like a little mini tournament almost, like an NBA play-in tournament.
Oh,
type of
I
situation.
remember that when I was a kid with like Bret Hart. Yeah. And
Yeah,
like,
oh yeah.
King of the Ring, you got the wrong one. Survivor Series is the 8-man tags.
right.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
That's King of the Ring.
Yeah, get your wrestling.
Oh, yeah,
Get
well,
your
come on,
wrestling
Toast.
right.
What are you, a scrub?
We're talking wrestling.
I know.
I remember, it's crazy looking back because I remember the King of the Ring. If you won the match, you fought another match. Looking back, like that's some serious cardio to do that.
Yeah.
That's like all day.
Dude, UFC used to do that back in the day. If you go that far back
Really?
with UFC, I watched UFC before it became cool. I wish I stuck with it. I'd probably be handicapping that shit. Yeah, UFC used to be a legit tournament. Hoist Gracie used to fight 4 times a night. Same with Ken Shamrock back in those days.
That's
Dan
crazy.
Severn. Yeah. They used to. That ended up being what killed it. Was guys couldn't do that. You
That's serious
do it.
shit. Imagine that's like college basketball playing like 3 games in a day. One at noon, one at 4 p.m., one at 8 p.m.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. Right, and then guys just wouldn't have the steam. They would need like injury replacements, and one guy fresh would fight a guy who's on his 4th fight and win, and then it was over.
So as you guys can see, good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday, which means we've got baseball all day. First game starts in 1 hour and 15 minutes. Obviously, that's where we're going to start. John, how was the? John's going to be with us Saturday as well. So we got
Let's go.
a double dosage of Legate.
Let's fucking go.
We've got a double dose of Legate this week.
Oh my God! No need for coffee on Saturday morning, everyone.
Well, John, before we get into it, how was your week?
Pretty good. Easter's a really big weekend for us Italians in New York. And I've been running around and feasting and cooking and seeing family. And I actually had time to drink alcohol, which was a lot of fun. Something I used to really enjoy when I was younger that I just don't have time for anymore. And drinking alcohol was fun.
Yeah, I played golf with my mom for Easter. My mother's Italian. Yeah, she's a golfer.
That's great, man.
So when family events, my mom likes to play golf.
Oh, that's so cool. That's really cool, man. Good. That's good to hear.
Real quick, Toast. Ronald Jones in the comments saying he's going to see the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp tomorrow night.
Oh, nice. Have fun. That should be a good one.
Is that minor league baseball?
Yeah.
That's another really good time. Anybody with if you got little kiddies or something, I'm never going to a major league ballpark with my kids ever again.
You're tripping.
Yeah, I mean Lakewood Blue Claws is right by me. That's the one we used to go to.
Dude, it's like a party. They involve the fans. It's a lot cheaper. The seats are better. Kids are running bases. They give giveaways and stuff. It's not even for us. I have the Brooklyn Cyclones, the Mets single A team right in Coney Island by all the amusement park.
Yep.
And it's the best thing ever. They have fireworks and music. There's a brewery downstairs. It's the best.
Yeah, it is a great environment. But let's go ahead and get into it. John, first game up. Cardinals on the road in Atlanta. What do you like here?
It's over or nothing. I refuse to back Michaelis or Bryce the Elder of the Shire. These guys are both like bordering on the train to Tuscaloosa, heading down to play for the Jumbo Shrimp. You got 2 guys that sit. Listen, they sit 91. You get no Ks. So it's where I was going with this one. My eyeball is firmly fixed on the Braves offense and whether or not they're going to get up off the mat. Oh, yes! Because that's what we've been watching, right? We've been waiting for the Braves talent to kind of come to the fore. Yes, we have teams that really struggle. Teams maybe like the Royals that we expect less from because it's Bobby Witt and then who? Opposed to the Braves, listen, the Braves are still running out. Harris and Riley and Olsen, this team is good and it's only a matter of time. So I think they get back on track today. So for me, it's either 0-9 or maybe the Braves team total is probably 4.5. I actually didn't look, but that's where I'd be. For me, it's it's a scoring game.
Toast, do you have any faith in either of these starting pitchers?
No, not at all. I it would be over or pass. I don't really have any interest betting this game early. I know that everybody expects the Braves to bounce back here today, and I'm just to bet the Braves to score over 4.5 runs is just too much for me at this point. I agree that their offense should kick into gear sooner or later, and Michaelis is really, really bad. But at the same time, Michaelis is also a veteran that can more than likely can go out there and give you 6 innings of 2-run baseball, and then you're going to be fighting for a couple innings against a home team if you're playing Atlanta. So it'd be over or pass, but I just don't really have any interest in this game.
Yeah, me neither.
I can't believe you didn't drop the bullpen nuance on us right there.
There's nothing
to hear who's gone. Braves bullpen looks like it's basically rested.
Pretty much. I mean, bummer. I mean, they had a couple guys that went yesterday, but I don't think that's going to matter if they're trying to win this game. Both those guys had both Bummer and Dylan Lee had the prior 2 days off before yesterday.
Yeah, they got plenty. I mean, I'm looking at it now. Montero should be available. They're missing like a couple arms, but Montero, Pierce Johnson, Hernandez, Iglesias are all available. They have arms. It's not completely rested, but it's not in any sort of state of emergency.
Now, I do have a question again for our resident bullpen guru. Maybe you can help with my modeling a little bit, because this happens a lot. You get a guy like Helsley, right? Helsley pitched yesterday, threw 22 pitches, but basically hadn't pitched for like a week. Do you expect to see him only in like if it's a necessary role? You will think he could go back to back, because modeling bullpens is really like a fool's errand. But it is something I do every day with the algo, and that's where it's tough. And that specifically is where I get into that trouble where I find the hurdle. Like, man, 22 pitches is right on that edge of over 25, 30. I don't expect him to go again. 22, maybe we see him. You think we could get an inning from Helsley if they needed?
100%, especially with the prior 4 days off. That's like the big kicker. Like, and you can start seeing patterns, not necessarily with the closers, but you'll see, like, for instance, like some guys, he might have pitched yesterday just for, I call it like maintenance. Like, you just want to get them into the game really quick and not have them sitting for a week and a half. Wow. So regardless, I mean, yes, I would 100% expect him in. It's back-to-back days, 2 out of 3 days. That's when I start to worry. That's when I really start to
He's a big part of that Atlanta team total, right? If you're looking for 5, you don't. He's the one guy you're kind of afraid of back there. We don't want to see him.
Yeah,
you know?
and that's why, and that's part of the reason why I don't want to deal with it. He should be there. Maton is there, and Maton's a guy that I know the numbers aren't anything crazy, but I mean, he's got a better strikeout percentage than Helsley, and on top of that, he's a former Astro. I trust him in big moments. So yeah, there's enough for me to like about the St. Louis side not to play Atlanta. I guess. How's that?
Heard.
All right. Let's move on to the next game. Phillies Mets in Citi Field. Man, the Phillies did not. The Mets are just too much team for this city, man. I had Philadelphia money line last night. I mean, if you're the Phillies, you have to win that game. You have to win that game. With McGill on the mound, there was no Diaz. That was the one you win. I mean, now.
It's not that they just lost. It's just like they look lifeless. Like, it's one thing to like have a bullpen blow up and, you know, you score a few runs and you were in it, but they didn't even feel like they were ever in that game. That's what's irritating about that. Like, not even once did they feel like they were in that game. When it was 1-0, it felt like 4-0.
Yeah.
Do you think Dirty Sanchez was hurt, or did he just get pulled?
Apparently shoulders.
He was like 50 pitches.
58 pitches, and apparently they didn't say it at the time. No one really knew what was up, and then like 2 hours later, it came out on Twitter that he had shoulder soreness or something.
Velo was down. Yeah, red flag for Dirty Sanchez.
Yeah,
man, Lindor broke his back with that single. He almost escaped. I had the F5. I thought the pricing was perfect. But yeah, that was one. You're right. You nailed it. The Phillies really needed that one. They didn't get it, and it feels like the price kind of bled into today's.
Well, I mean, maybe a little bit. John, do you think Phillies get to Peterson?
I mean, I just couldn't turn down Wheeler minus 127 F5, and I think Peterson is. I think Peterson is good. I just think Zach Wheeler is like the nut hand. You know, Peterson. You know, I don't want to say has had trouble, but he's pitching to contact. He has a 94% zone contact rate combined with a 46% hard hit rate. So he's very much reliant on the BABIP gods. You know, Philly's offense has been a little bit disappointing, but if you're going to give me minus 127 for Zach Wheeler, I got to take it. He can overpower anybody.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that the Phillies would be the pick here as well. I can't. What didn't we get this last night, Toast? Let me pull up my slips. Phillies. No, I did not take the Phillies. Yeah, I'm too scared, dude.
Well, it was that, and we both had talked about the number probably going down because it was cheap, and I mean, people like to bet the Mets. I agree with John. It's Phillies first 5 for me. I was kind of debating on it. I don't really want to worry about the Phillies bullpen at this point. I'm kind of out on them. But they do have Strahm and Alvarado that they didn't work. And I do think that you're going to see probably a good 6 or 7 innings out of Mr. Zach Wheeler here today. So his last 2 starts against the Mets, both 7 innings, both hit or miss. But I mean, I know he doesn't have great history versus the Mets, but I don't really put too much stock into that at this point. So Zach Wheeler is a guy that I trust. And he's the type of guy that I think everybody would agree that if the Phillies need somebody to scrape him off the mat, he's the type of guy that's there. So it's going to be Phillies for me. I haven't decided how I'm going to play it. It's probably going to end up being just the first 5, but at the same time, I will say that Atlanta's bullpen's not in like the best shape. I mean, they do have their best 2 arms available as well, but they did use Bummer for 40 pitches, Dylan Lee for 20, De Los Santos and Montero.
The Braves bullpen?
Yes.
Oh,
they're ready. They're good to go. I'm just saying that they were all used significantly yesterday. So,
Phillies bullpen 6.7 ERA last 2 weeks. It's a little early for victory laps, but man, they really played themselves. Like I understand it wasn't like a trade, but it kind of was. Like they shipped Jeff Hoffman, brought in Jordan Romano, right? The Phillies and Blue Jays pretty much swapped closers. You couldn't have had a bigger disparity in talent back there. That was I called that out as going to be a huge mistake, and it looks like that's going to come to the fore. I'm a toast 100%. If you like the Phillies, and I think there's a great argument for that, I have them modeled up pretty comfortably, again, with Wheeler on the mound. There is nothing that's going to get me to play the Phillies for 9 innings right now. Even if you told me Wheeler was going 7, I'm worried they don't get maybe more than 3 right on the Phillies side, and then I'm worried they're going to blow it.
Yeah, I put it Phillies up, but I didn't bet it. Next up, Padres Tigers. Shout out to the Padres yesterday. Came through for us, Toast. Pitching staff looked great.
Oh, I had that one too yesterday. I had the 5, but yeah.
Were you worried that, I mean, the market moved against us? It's a little bit of late Tigers steam.
I told you.
Yeah, I really like Pivetta. I also like Flaherty, right? It was Flaherty, Pivetta last night. Flaherty had struggled. I hate doing BVP stuff. Please don't judge me, but Tatis has owned him, and we've seen Flaherty struggle a little bit with the command, and I just thought the Padres would get to him enough, and that's kind of what happened.
I don't understand why you modelers hate history. Like that
I don't like it either.
I just
sometimes
don't.
people bring it up.
It's in the game of baseball where it's so mental and things like that matter. Like,
some of you guys are bringing up ABs from 2015. You got
that's fine. I get that. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
There's
actually count to myself.
Context to it all. I would agree.
I'll count to myself because sometimes you actually hear pitchers talk about it in the broadcast booth or in pressers and stuff, or even hitters say, I see the ball well coming out of this guy's hand, or the way he delivers it, or something like that. Like that should matter. Tatis going into yesterday, I just remember because I posted it. He was 7 for 10 with 6 extra base hits. It was 4 doubles and 2 homers. Like he's obviously doing something right against Flaherty.
Well, I think if it's within the last couple of years, it's definitely valuable data, but it's. If we're talking about the last couple of years, we're also talking about a small sample size. I agree. I don't really look at it very often. Toast, Padres win 2 in a row here?
I say yes because of the bullpen, and I just think that we're getting to a point with the Padres bullpen. They're so good. The issue is you're probably not going to see Suarez and Adam. They're low pitch counts, especially yesterday, 12 and 13, but 2 of the last 3 days, I don't know if that matters because this bullpen is just so really good. I mean, even if you take, let's just say today that you don't have Suarez and Adam. So you're going to get, let's just hope that you get, if you want to just play this out, let's just say you get 5 innings from Kyle Hart. So then you would have Wandy Peralta or Gillespie take the 6th and the 7th. you would have Marijon take the 8th, and then Estrada take the 9th. So there's definitely an avenue here. I think that San Diego is going to have success in the pitching market. I know that Detroit has been winning games, I guess, and whatnot, especially over the last week, but they're not winning games by scoring runs. They're winning games with their pitching staff, and that's just where I don't know what to expect from Reese Olson. I have a hard time believing that he's as good as what we saw him against Kansas City, but at the same time, this Padres lineup is pretty damn bad, especially right now. But I would only lean the Padres at this price. The only thing that's throwing me off, honestly, is what we talked about this last night, Kyle Hart's numbers versus lefties. It's such a small sample. I don't really know what to take from that. And there's obviously a whole bunch of lefties in the Tigers bullpen or in the Tigers lineup. But actually, I think they're going to try to use a whole bunch of righties here today to try to counteract that. But regardless, it's only the Padres for me. I didn't bet this because, again, another thing we talked about last night is that we've been doing this show and betting baseball, Kyle and I, together for a long time. If there's one spot to play on the Tigers, it's at home during the day, early start game at 9 a.m. or 12 a.m. or whatever it is. So that's the only thing that's honestly throwing me off. And I know that sounds stupid, but if you've been watching this show with us and betting the Tigers, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So you can put San Diego up for me. I'm just going to watch it.
I very strongly considered placing this bet. It was minus 156 last night. I know laying that kind of juice is ugly, but like Toe said, Tigers seem to find ways to win, and that's even when they're bad. They're actually a pretty decent team this year. Look, we got our win yesterday with the Padres. Still not a lineup I trust. I mean, they scored 2 runs. The Padres pitching staff won us that game, not the bats. Reese Olson in the afternoon start. I don't think it's crazy that he pitches a great one. Don't really know a ton about Kyle Hart. Tigers bullpen is completely rested. I really considered placing this and laying the juice. I didn't do it though. John, where you at on this one?
Yeah, I think I have the Tigers modeled up for a pretty comfortable win, though it's very difficult to get them to that minus 160. Now that 5 is minus 160. So I always get caught in this position where, like, I feel confident that they win the F5, but I can't bring myself to pay the minus 160 because, again, I don't love them. And a bit of it is kind of banking on this positive progression, whatever you want to call it, from Olson. Listen, Olson was excellent last year, and he came out and he has not been great. We just saw the first kind of glimpse of that, right? I think he was good in the last one, maybe even 2 out of 3. Yeah, but the one before was the White Sox, and it's hard to kind of put any faith into that. So I do think Olson corrects course, but I've been struggling to sink my teeth into him this year because a lot of it is still kind of ugly. 42.5 ball rate is being very wild. 11% walk rate, very wild. He's not inducing chases, giving up a ton of line drives. But on the flip side, I also can't back Kyle Hart Foundation. I just can't do it. Because the split, and again, we expect lefties to be good versus lefties and struggle versus righties. These numbers versus righties are atrocious. Righties have a 1,053 OPS against them, 58 fly ball, and 3 homer 9. So Hart's living up in his zone, and he's very hittable. So, yeah, again, I think the Tigers win. I don't have the faith in the cover because of the Padres bullpen. Too many kind of crossing things here. I'm going to just leave it, but I do think the Tigers get the F5 job done.
That's what sucks. Like, if the Padres, I wish the Padres bullpen was just like a little bit more taxed, just because then I would have no problem laying this juice.
Agreed.
As far as the money line.
Yep,
but
agreed.
All right, let's move on to the.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I hate to cut you off. I got to ask. Do you ever go to the run line, Toast? Do you ever go for the 1.5? I know that's going to be a tough bet, but the odds, the odds are so lovely sometimes. They offer
usually, Kyle makes fun of me. I usually pay pretty close attention to what teams play 1-run games and what teams don't. You really start to see a pattern.
You shake his head. I'm shaking my head too.
So dumb.
I'm with you, brother.
So dumb.
I'm not calling you dumb, but I am
John, you can call me dumb. It's okay.
No,
I've done pretty all good for myself.
I don't think it's dumb. I thought what you were going to hit me with is the cost of the run. I thought that's where you were going to go. Yeah. Sometimes you're getting 95 cents to lay that run. Then I lay on the strength of my model, and if I can, but I just, like I said, I don't have it there because I tell you right now, I have. Yeah, it's just not enough. It's just not enough. The Padres bullpen is too effective, even in the middle innings. I just have trouble getting to a 2-run clear for Detroit with the way the offense has been.
Let's move on to the Yankees. John, ugly one last night. You trust them to get to Luis Ortiz here? I personally think they hit Luis Ortiz up. What do you think?
I think you're probably going to get a mixed bag. The Yankees are striking out a ton, but what I've been saying on my show every day, it's the strikeouts that we're okay with. So the strikeout rate is high, but the chase rate is very low, right? So that's generally an indication of good pitch selection. And if you're going to maximize on it, which, again, the Yankees have, and I'm like the most pessimistic Yankee fan because I really hate the way the team is built. But, again, if, 25 – this is the entire year as righties – 25% K, 13.5 swinging strike, 81 zone contact. That's very poor, but, the big shaking butt. Listen, man, 14 barrel, 447 ex-con. The power numbers are through the roof. Ortiz does have the strikeout pitch going, and I wonder if maybe we get a little bit of everything, that maybe he crosses his strikeout prop, but the Yankees also get to him. I normally don't dare this offense, to be honest. I don't know. I probably don't bet on the Yankees often because I like to go against them, but not when the offense is hot. I wait for the offense to kind of struggle. The prices oftentimes don't correct with that kind of downswing on the sine wave. And Rodon, who I personally don't like, has actually been pretty good this year against a Guardian offense, which kind of sucks. I'm really not impressed with them, especially against lefties. So I think it's similar to the last one. I think the Yankees get it done, but I can't eat the price.
Toast, did you end up going with that team total over? I did.
Oh, yeah. Team total over 4.5 plus 100. Looking at minus 115 across the board-ish right now. So feeling pretty good about that. I just think that sooner or later this Yankees offense is going to just erupt. And that line movement actually makes me feel a lot better about that bet. They haven't scored over 5. They've only scored over 5 runs twice in the last 10 games. But they've scored 4 in almost all of those games. So sooner or later, this offense is going to break out. And then as far as Luis Ortiz is concerned, like I said last night, I didn't know that he was going to be facing the Yankees. That only just makes it a little bit better. But I was going to be fading him regardless of if he played the White Sox his next start, because his starts against Kansas City and Pittsburgh, I don't know if I was on unders or what, but I happened to be on other sides of both of them. And he pitched his absolute lights out versus Kansas City and Pittsburgh. Almost 18 strikeouts over 10.5 innings, or 10 2/3 innings, only 3 hits. But as we know, both those offenses are absolutely piss poor. So I do think the Yankees can get to him. Not to mention the hard hit rates are through the roof. I mean, Pittsburgh had 4 hits, 63.6% of those were hard hit. All of those hard hit percentages are really bad for Luis Ortiz. So I'm just really not there. He's also not getting a whole bunch of guys to chase a lot either, which could be really, really bad when it comes to the Yankees. Yankees team total over 4.5 for me. I don't really want to worry about them having to win or anything because it's whatever. Yeah, just I don't like that bullpen at all.
No, nor do I. I tailed you on this one. I'm on the same exact bet. Next,
Devin Williams looks awful right now.
Well, I've been saying, John, that even with them, like today's a perfect example. It's actually the worst possible scenario for me if I'm trying to back the Yankees with the bullpen situation that they're in, because you can't trust Devin Williams, and the only other person that you really trust in that bullpen is Luke Weaver. Like, if you have to trust somebody, you're going to trust him. And I mean, obviously he worked yesterday. Fernando Cruz is so volatile. I mean, there's nobody in that bullpen that you can actually trust behind the starting pitching right now. So.
I liked Hamilton. Hamilton was fantastic last
year. Yeah, he was.
But year over year, reliever stuff doesn't always carry. It hasn't thus far.
And we've seen it with Mark Leiter struggling. Fernando Cruz is the guy that you guys need to figure out.
Helms is in the comments, a Brewers fan. He said Devin Williams is awful. The Brewers fleeced. It makes sense because when the Yankees got Devin Williams, like they $9 million, and I was like, Yankees get a closer. I thought they would set the market.
Yo, I'm friends with
Give him
Rob,
an extension.
but this is Pitching Ninja's fault. This is. And I'm good friends. I'm friends with Rob. We do a show once a year. I talk to him all the time. He's really, really cool. He's a great guy.
How is it his fault?
Because these fucking GIFs drive people nuts, man. He will show, I forget who the pitcher was. It was just a week or two ago where he posted a GIF of a viral pitch. That pitcher got run out of the building in the second inning. But everyone saw the wiffle ball, right? So that's what I mean. That's what I mean when I'm joking, but that when I say it's his fault, that he'll highlight an individual pitch that has insane movement that makes a hitter look really fucking stupid. But it's one pitch.
Right.
So that's it. It's just one pitch. It's not an arsenal. It's not a game. It's not even a sample. It's just One pitch
it's
and one batter.
It's a deceiving highlight. It kind of reminds me of
people run with that stuff.
It kind of reminds me of when Russell Westbrook was in his prime in the NBA, like the highlights of him getting it to the basket and finishing this crazy play. Then the highlight cuts off and it doesn't show the next play where he's like on the ground and they just get too easy back on the other side because he just doesn't get back. Like, yeah, the highlight's sweet, but like if it doesn't help the team win. Anyway, let's move on to Reds, Marlins, and Toast. We got some CLV on this one. Me and Toast got over 7.5 last night.
Wow, it's 8.5 now.
It's now 8.5. Yeah,
Whoa.
I got to thank Toast for this one because he was the one. I was like, hey, let's do it. It was his pick. I tailed. It is now 8.5 now.
Oh, I'm at DK just dropped to 8, but it is minus 120. So it's
well, we paid juice for we paid juice for the 7.5. So it's not a flat 7.5, but yeah, we got to over 7.5 on this one.
That's still big. Yeah, that's big.
Toast, you want to talk about this over?
I'd love to. So first and foremost, I love Sandy Alcantara. He's always going to have a spot in my heart, but he doesn't look the same. And I will give you that maybe he's not as bad as his last 2 starts versus Washington and Philly, where he went 7 2/3 total innings, gave up 9 hits and 10 runs, had 6 walks, only 2 strikeouts. But, and unfortunately, I hate saying this, at the same time, we can't expect him to go out there and give us 6 or 7 1 or 2 run baseball right now. That's just not how Sandy Alcantara is pitching right now. Going back to last year, and I understand that he was hurt and all that stuff, but even previous to that, it wasn't the same Sandy that we knew and loved from 2022. And you go back to his last 7 starts, going back from this year to 2023, it's all been pretty bad. So I'm just not in a position, as much as I hate to say this, I'm just not in a position where I trust Sandy Alcantara to go out and give me scoreless baseball. So I feel like he's going to give up 2 or 3 runs against this Marlins team that has been figuring out ways to score runs. I mean, over their last 10 games, I mean, they've scored 4 runs or more in 8 of those. I mean, not to mention they've put up a 6, a 7, a 10, and an 11 and a 7 in those times as well. So I don't really worry about this Marlins offense at all, to be dead honest with you guys. I think they're playing out of their minds right now. They're just a bunch of kids going out there and playing. And when they're not worrying about it, I actually think that's an advantage to Miami, especially for scoring runs. And then as far as on the other side, Brady Singer's just one of those guys that I like to call just the definition of average. You can essentially pencil him in for 5 or 6 innings and 2 or 3 runs every single time. The Cincinnati offense behind him has been really bad the last 2 days, but they were absolutely on fire for the week and a half prior to that. And I will admit that, yes, we have seen this with the Cincinnati team going back a couple years now, where they get really, really hot for a week or 2, and then they get really, really cold. But I don't really need them to be super hot here. I just need 3 or 4 runs from them here today, which they've done almost in going back to 12 games. I think they've scored 3 runs or more in all of them. So I just thought that this total at 7.5 was way too small with 2 bullpens that I'll give you. The Cincinnati bullpen is good, but the Miami bullpen I don't trust to save my life. And the Cincinnati bullpen, to be honest with you guys, I mean, they used Ashcraft and Santillan yesterday. I mean, they're all rested and ready to go, but I still think that Brady Singer gives up a couple. So yeah, I just thought that over 7.5 was way, way too small.
Well, I heard you give your spiel on the over last night. There was a 7.5 available. Remember, and you guys have probably heard me say this before, last season, the over in Miami home games plus 34.6% ROI. Meaning, if you just blindly bet over in every single Marlins home games, you made a fortune last year. And this year, plus
same thing.
Yeah, this year same thing, plus 25.5%. So I mean, the Marlins, this ballpark is just going over at an extremely high rate. John, what do you think?
Well, I can't push back against the 7.5. I'm modeled at 8.6 is what I got. And more importantly, when you're kind of reading models, I have both of them over 4.25, which for range of outcomes gets us both to 4, and I'm at the 7.5. I did bet Cincinnati F5. I think Brady winning. Singer corrects today. I maybe the average thing. I kind of hear what you're saying, Toast. I don't think you're too far off, but he's been pretty good. He's been pretty good this year. I especially like him away from that ballpark. I think I like everybody away from that ballpark.
Yeah.
He's getting swing and misses over the CSW, which is something I always look for Singer. He's getting his cold strikes over. He's getting ahead. He's winning in the zone. And the Reds office is kind of humming right now. I know, the last 2 days, but that's fine. When I have a team kind of pushing forward on my power rankings, man, two kind of lows is like a double bottom for trading. I'm kind of looking for them to pop.
Yeah.
And as far as Sandy goes, I think the fantasy geeks got this one right. We mentioned this, I think it might have been opening day, or where we talked about the honeymoon phase after the TJ, that first year. Even if the velo is there, a lot of times the command is not. And like talk about, they nailed this one. Sandy Alcantara so far, man, 56 first strike, 26 O swing, 13.5 ball. He has a 4% K minus BB. That dog don't hunt, man. You just can't live like that. You know, if he was never a big swing and miss guy in the first place. So if opposing hitters can kind of spit on the breaking stuff, he's going to be in trouble. And I think that's exactly what happens. Though I do kind of like the Marlins offense, something else I kind of have a gold star on my big fat nose for, because I mentioned this offense was not nearly as bad as people were making them out to be preseason, and they were much better than the past iterations. I mean, if you're betting on these like Eric Wagaman total bases, you're cleaning up right now. He's getting fucking hits every single day. So I'm a little surprised. Maybe it's name value, which is weird, not something you expect to happen with the Marlins. But the Reds are an underdog right now. F5, for me, that was all I needed. That was all I needed to see.
What price can you get F5?
I got plus 110. I'm seeing plus 107 hanging right now. So if you really shopped it, you probably do the same thing. But I got plus 107 is live right now.
So Reds.
The Marlins offense. Go ahead, Kyle. Sorry.
No. I was just repeating the bet. You go ahead.
I was just going to say that Marlins offense is a lot better than people give them credit for. I mean, Xavier Edwards, Eric Wagaman, Matt Mervis, Kyle Stowers, Otto Lopez, all those guys, like if you pulled up their numbers on Savant and stuff, all are very, very impressive. So I don't know how long this lasts, but until then, or until we start seeing a drop off, you have to consider Miami a somewhat legit offense. I know that's crazy, but
yeah, I mean the power stuff though to make the data back to counter is still really poor. Like though they've produced this week, they scored 35 runs this week, 15 doubles, batting 283. Those are all good. They're still bottom 5 walk rate, bottom 5 swing and strike, bottom 3 chase rate, bottom 5 zone contact, a 26% hard hit rate. I think that's dead last in the league, sub 7% barrel. So it's been more like situational stuff, balls finding grass.
But, and there's a huge but behind that, the two guys that don't really have the power, Xavier Edwards and Otto Lopez, both what? They don't strike out, they walk, and they're some of the fastest guys in the league. So there's a lot to like there with Miami as far as how they.
Yeah, I've been hot on this team. Today's just not my day, but you're betting the Marlins right now is a profitable venture because the market is still very cold in it.
All right, let's move on to the next game. I don't know if I'd bet the 8.5, by the way.
No, I wouldn't bet 8.5. But I'm still pretty strong on the flat 8. If you got a minus 110 or minus 105 on a flat 8, you could sell me on a 4-4 tie that gets us the 9th run.
Yeah, agreed. Orioles Nats, and I'm on Baltimore here. I should have bet the Nats yesterday. Man, the Orioles against lefties might just be a blind fade. They've yet to touch a lefty starter all season.
Yep.
I mean,
that yesterday.
Yeah, yep. I didn't bet the Nats. I wanted to, but now it's Trevor. Yeah, Toast scared me off.
Why? I thought we were Parker guys. Me and you were usually aligned with our pitchers.
I just thought I mean I was wrong, but I just thought that total was 9 for a reason, and I thought that both teams were going to score runs. And I mean, the Nats scored 7, so I didn't bet the game, but I did feel bad because I talked Kyle off of it. Everybody in our group
you nailed that.
Everybody loved the Nats.
They're awful.
Awful.
I got a minus 124 for the Orioles money line. Toast. Yeah, I got a great price on this one, but you could still get, if you look, you could still get a minus 132, minus 135 somewhere in there. So it's not completely far off. Toast, you ended up taking the team total over here.
Yeah, I did both of them. So I did Baltimore first 5 team total over 2.5, Baltimore team total over 4.5. I did a half a unit on each. I actually went through the game logs and all the games that Baltimore scored 5 runs or more. I think in every single one of them, except for one, they hit their first 5 team total. So that's part of the reason why I wanted to get that. When Baltimore scores so far this year, it seems like they're scoring early and often. And I think that they have a really good opportunity today here against Trevor Williams, who hasn't looked really good at all. I know that his last start against Pittsburgh looked somewhat decent on the surface, but the peripherals are really bad. It was like almost nearly a 5 xFIP with a 55% nearly hard hit percentage. I mean, I'm rounding up a little bit, but you get what I mean. On top of that, he's just one of those guys where I think that he had his time in the sun last year where he looked absolutely amazing. And right now, I think we're going to start seeing it come back down to earth. And we've seen that with like 3 of his first 4 starts. The big factor there's 2 big factors for me. One, as far as Baltimore's bats are concerned, you can't trust them versus lefties, but right-handed starters, they are just absolutely slaughtering. 6 off of 100 Green, 4 off of Spears, 6 off of Bybee, 5 off of Gavin Williams, 4 off of Barrios, 3 off of Bowden Francis, 5 off of Zach Gallen. A couple Arizona guys pitched well against them, but I don't worry about Baltimore versus right-handed pitching, on top of the fact that Trevor Williams has really struggled versus lefty bats so far this year. Henderson, Adley, O'Hearn, Mullins, Kerstad, that other kid that's at the bottom of the lineup that doesn't deserve to be talked about. All those guys on Baltimore lefties should have a little bit of success here today. So on top of the fact that the Baltimore offense so far this season has been really, really good against bullpen. So put that all together, I think Baltimore gets 5 runs here today.
Yeah. I like Baltimore to score some runs too. They're seeing a righty, not a lefty. Baltimore against a lefty might be the worst lineup in baseball against lefties, but they can hit against righties. John, what are your thoughts?
Man, funny, now I think I probably should just be leaning towards the over because you both make so many really good points. Yeah, by the way, that Trevor Williams stat versus lefties can't be undersold. Lefties are batting .455 off him this year.
Crazy.
That's a 12-17 OPS and more than 3 home runs per 9. I actually so I couldn't back T-Dub. There's no way.
Right.
I bet the Washington team total over 4.5 plus 115. I also it would have to be your smallest betting unit, right? Whether that's a 20th of a unit or if you do 10th of a unit. I have Washington to lead the day in run scoring. They're 19-1 to score the most runs.
Yo, all right. I love it. I
think Sagano, this false reality that we've been pitched comes crashing down.
You think so?
Okay, Sagano pitching to a 3.43. Right now he has a 3.43, 129 ERA whip combo. However, the expected ERA is 6.4. The Sierra is 5.3. He has a 3.4 KBB, 8% swing and strike, 52 first strike. He falls behind everybody. He's pitching up in the zone, 24 line drive, 41 hard hit, 12.5 barrel. And he's gotten smoked by righties. They've just kind of eaten his fucking lunch. And that Baltimore bullpen is all, and whenever you're going to bet the daily special stuff, because one of my claims to fame with the model is I do implied team totals and we put them all together. And you can kind of makes it easy to compare against the book. People like to play those daily specials, like I was saying. You got to have a bad bullpen. And right now, the Baltimore bullpen is coming apart at the seams. A team that I thought was going to be really good. Last 42 2/3. It's 2 weeks from the Baltimore bullpen. They have a 6.12 ERA, 1.9 WHIP, 3.28 batting average allowed, and a single-digit KBB. That's not how you get it done. Washington's offense has been raking also. So I like them in small samples. James Wood is unconscious right now, so I like his total bases if you do that. But yeah, give me Washington to score 5, and just whatever the smallest unit that we put on the 19-1 Washington to lead the slate today.
I think Sagano can pitch all right. I mean, but what worries me here would be all the lefties in the Nats lineup. But I mean, Sagano just pitched a gem against Cleveland, 7 innings, 2 runs, just 5 base runners against a lineup full of lefties who, I mean, honestly, lefties I would consider to be better than Washington's lefties. I think Sagano could pitch all right.
I think he's got kind of going to junk ball his way to glory. We've seen that. I think the jig is up today.
And you might be right. And I'm not saying this against your bet, John. I'm actually curious your thoughts. Do you put any? And I know that you model it so it's a little bit different, but I'm not trying to make a case that Sagano's numbers are good. I mean, the xFIP is terrible, the K percentage is terrible, the hard hit percentage, the swinging strike, all that's bad. Yep. And I will agree that sooner or later that's not going to last. But there's a part of me that thinks that he also just kind of knows how to pitch as well. So that's why there was a part of me that wanted to fade him today too. And then seeing that price made me think otherwise, I guess. I don't know. So I'm just very curious to see what I'm not there yet with him yet. I just don't really know what to think.
I'm not sold. He could. I mean, Washington, again, if you're kind of making if the argument is
they're a bunch of young guys.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. If the argument is like a cerebral thing, you could probably juke the Washington offense because they are young and can be a little bit aggressive. But it's funny that he has, and I hate to quote reverse splits with righties because the majority of hitters are righties. Some pitchers are better against righties, against lefties, I mean, because they have pitches that tail to the glove side, which I think is what Saganu's thing is. When he misses with that tail to righties, it's over the plate. And he's actually really struggled. It's been righties that have kind of killed him. So we'll see. What Washington is kind of left-handed. They are a left-handed team, but we'll see. Now I'm going to be glued to this one. Now I'm marking this one on my calendar.
Well, I just want to see because they kill like the fastballs, but and he uses all of his pitches like 20% of the time. So I'm just really curious to see what his pitch mix is today against this young lineup.
Like too. I generally like that.
All right, let's move on to Seattle.
Pitch A, you go to pitch B. Yeah.
On the road in Fenway, Hancock against Newcomb. Tosa, you going back to the over here? It worked for you last night.
Yes. It would only be over for me. I didn't bet this last night. I don't know why I didn't bet this. Oh, it's because it was 10. That's why.
Yeah, it's 10.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, it would be over or pass. I don't really have any interest backing Mr. Hancock here. I wish I could. I really had kind of high hopes for this
too.
kid.
I liked Hancock last year. I thought it was going to be good. The baseball geek in me, he was supposed to be like him and George Kirby were supposed to be the next kind of thing. It really hasn't played out that way. I do truly believe that if he were to be in a different organization, not Seattle, with all those other big name starters in front of him, that he'd probably be a 4 or a 5 easily on other teams. But he doesn't. There's nothing gaudy that sticks out about him. I mean, he's usually pretty damn serviceable. It's just this Red Sox offense. I mean, it's kind of feast or famine, but I mean, it's really starting to play well right now. 4 runs or more in like 5 of their last 6 games, a 7 spot, a 10 spot. So I don't really know if I trust Emerson Hancock on the road in Fenway Park. So I know he looks somewhat decent in Cincinnati and Texas, but Texas was last year, but the Cincinnati offense is not nearly the same as Boston. It's not nearly as much feast or famine. Again, I get what Cincinnati has done recently, but I still think that Boston's offense overall is better than theirs. I don't think there's any question about that. And Boston has started to play a little bit better. So this is really hard for me. I just don't trust Newcomb at all. I think that he could get hit hard up here a little bit, but again, over 10 or pass. I don't really have a good opinion on this one. I felt like I got kind of lucky with that over yesterday, so I don't want to go back to the well. You did kind of get lucky with that.
Yeah.
I don't have any interest in this one either. John, what do you think of Hancock?
This one's over or nothing. The Hancock thing is kind of rough. He was bad last year. I put my faith in organizations a lot of times with a healthy offseason to maximize pitching output. Seattle has proven that. Like, they have a great rotation and they get the most out of these guys. So again, you look back last year, Hancock gave you 61 innings. It was ugly. He had a 5.9 expected ERA, 1.34 whip, only 15% K rate, 25 CSW, 7.5 KBB. These are not great. I kind of put my faith in a step forward. That has not happened. I don't want to start quoting 5 2/3 because that and $2 get you on the bus. But it looks like it did last year. And the thing I really have my eye on is that Boston offense that a lot of us loved coming into the year, they were scuffling. And the thing that I noticed more, because I don't really like to quote L7, but we're so early in the season that the one thing I will use it for is like indicating trajectory. The thing I look for with good offenses is to clean up discipline, and that's what we've seen from Boston. So I think that's been the lodestar of this production, and Boston's taken off. Right, over the last 7 days, the K rate is down at 19, the walk rate is up at 13, and most importantly, they've cut the chasing down to nothing. And now they're, like I mentioned with the Yankees, maximizing pitch selection, and now they're doing everything. They're lifting, they pull it, they hit it hard. Red Sox have a 50% hard hit rate, leading the league, 15.5 barrel, 354 WOBA last 7 days. I mean, spells trouble for Hancock. So for me, it's over or nothing. I saw minus 131 to go over 9.5. I hate paying juice on totals, but if I had to pick something, that'd probably be it. Because for me, it's over or nothing. Newcomb's going to get smoked eventually.
I was going to say I actually don't mind the Seattle team total over 4.5.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was just going to say.
Because those Newcomb's numbers versus right-handed bats are absolutely terrible going this year.
Not just Newcomb. Who's coming in after Newcomb? Because Newcomb has not gone 5 innings once this entire season, and the middle relievers for Boston are cooked.
They all pitched. Right.
Yes,
You're right.
exactly. They've got their.
I'm betting this right now.
I think Seattle team total over would be the way to go.
Yeah,
yes, they've got Chapman and Slayton available, but are you even going to see those guys unless they're winning in the 8th?
I was going to say, yeah, if we see Chapman, our bet's probably dead anyway. So
exactly,
fair enough. Yeah,
we lost unless they're closing a 7-6 game.
Yeah,
which is possible. Yeah.
Minus 105 on Caesars. I'm putting a half unit on Seattle, 4.5.
I'm putting that up as my pick.
That's a good price, by the way. There are minus 120s out there, so always a lesson, if people shop around because, some people scoff at like the 5 or 10 cents, and that's the purest sign of a novice bettor. Because if you adjust a full season's worth of bets by 5 cents, it makes such a huge deal, man.
15 bets a day. Those 10 cents means a lot.
Those margins are literally the definition of somebody who bets for a living and somebody who doesn't. Or those margins right there. Somebody who's getting the minus 3.5, minus 108 the night before, and then someone who's getting the minus 4, minus 112 the next day. That margin is the difference between. It's crazy how razor thin it is.
And not to like pat ourselves on the back, but if you watch this show, especially the midnight show, look at how much success we've had, like especially total specifically, where we bet the 8 and we know it's going to go to 8.5, and then it's usually like an easy winner. Obviously, that's not always an easy winner, but my point is that more times than not, you're sitting in a pretty good position.
Yeah, well, definitely it wouldn't be described as an easy winner. I would describe
it as
like that. Confirmation that you made you placed a
but I'd also add
that's why I immediately changed my word.
Right? Isn't that the most important CLV in baseball, more than pricing? Which again, a lot of times you could find that 5 cents if you shop around. There's no replacing the half run, and in your case, before a full run, that's the true CLV.
All right, next up, Dodgers Cubs. This game, wow, fireworks yesterday. Cubs get the late winner. I mean, I'm done with Cubs fans. I can't stand them. They came out of nowhere. I never had a problem with Cubs fans before this year. I hate them now. So I actually think you got to bet the Cubs here if you're going to bet a side. I don't even know who's pitching for the Dodgers.
Sauer is
it still him?
So I think he's just opening though. It's just an opener,
Yeah. So we question marks as far as the starting pitching on the Dodger side. Matthew Boyd's been good. I don't trust the Dodgers lineup quite as much against a left-handed starter. The Cubs bullpen is not as taxed. The Dodgers used everybody yesterday. The Cubs used some arms also. I'm not saying the Cubs bullpen is in great shape, but the Dodgers used everybody. So I mean, if you're betting this one, it's just Cubs money line, but I'm not doing that.
No, I think the Cubs bullpen is pretty good. Presley kind of sucked, but he's off 2 days in a row.
What did you drink? You drinking Grandpa's coffee?
No, I meant in terms of like rest. That's what I meant.
Okay.
In terms of rest. They suck.
Blow a gasket.
They suck, but they're rested and they suck. Like Keller. Keller pitched and Hollowell pitched and Hodge threw 11 pitches. I guess he's 2 out of 3, but the other day was 5. Yeah, this one feels like such the Vegas Vegas trap line to me because Boyd is legitimately a good starter, in particular if we're just talking about 5 innings, right? If you only need 15 outs, he's your guy. He's got a 2 ERA, 1.25 WHIP, all the underpinning stuff pretty much in check. Ball rate, chase rate, winning in the zone. He pitches up in the zone, which is a little bit concerning against the Dodgers. But as you mentioned, Dodgers v lefties is really it's hardly scary. Dodgers batting .202 against left-handed hitters this year. 275 OBP on the season. That's not any good. 87 WRC plus. You got to bet Boyd at minus 110, F5, and just kind of hold your nose and hope that you don't get smoked. Cubs offense, the reason why the Baby Bear fans are talking so much shit, Sauce, is because the offense is legit good. And that's what happens when you add a fucking premier player in Kyle Tucker. I mean, I was pulling what little hair I had left out of my damn head during fantasy season, getting prepped, and people are like, I don't know, man. Kyle Tucker, I don't know if this is going to be good. There's like wind and Wrigley. I'm like, what the?
Are you kidding me?
He's one of the premier players in the game. He does absolutely
He's a 5-tool player.
He does. Oh, my dude. And if you're into like the spreadsheet.
So does Bellinger.
He's the man. He doesn't chase. He wins in the zone. He pulls. Not only does he pull heavy, he pulls elevated batted ball events. So he pulls barrels. Kyle Tucker is fucking elite. I always thought Seiya was really great. You just got to keep him healthy. Hap, kind of a lunch pail guy, but also very good, brings it every day. Swanson on the bounce back year, who's also very talented, and just a guy you don't want to need to rely on, right? You don't want Swanson to have to carry your team, but if he's your fifth best hitter, you're in great fucking shape. So yeah, give me Cubs F5 -110, and I hate going against the Dodgers because again, they're supremely talented on offense, but we're gonna have to hope that the Cubs beat up on their opener. I don't even know who's going to follow. I have no idea who's even out there for the Dodgers.
Okay, so from what I talked to from my friends in LA last night, I haven't spoke to them this morning. There's a good chance that Tony Gonsolin got on a plane last night, and Tony Gonsolin will pitch today, at least for a few innings. He was scheduled to pitch. He was scheduled to pitch in El Paso or whatever today already. So there's probably a good chance that they send him on his plane to Chicago. They wanted him to get another rehab start in AAA before he made his start in Major Leagues. I think their hands being forced at this point. That's not 100%, but I just wanted to throw that out there. Not that it matters if it's him or not. I played over 9 here. It was one of the first bets that I made. I should have played over yesterday and not worried about it, but couple things here. As far as John talking about the Dodgers offense versus left-handed pitching. Yes, the numbers aren't great. I'm just going to go through for you and somebody who might not have watched last night or the day before the starting left-handed pitchers that the Dodgers have seen. Imanaga, Steele, Skubal, Sale, Luzardo, Sanchez, Gore, Boyd, and Imanaga again. So literally the who's who of left-handed pitching in Major League Baseball.
That's everyone. That's all of them. Yeah.
So I'm really not super worried about Matthew Boyd, who is the guy that I was really high on coming into the year, and he has pitched really well against literally the best. That's another thing, is that Matthew Boyd has pitched well against some of the best competition this year. He's faced literally the NL West, the Padres, the Dodgers, Arizona, the Padres twice, and the Dodgers. Right. So I don't expect, it's not me necessarily thinking that Matthew Boyd is bad either. I just think that he's only going to go 5, maybe 6 innings in this game max, and I still think the Dodgers get 2 or 3 runs off of him. And yes, the Cubs bullpen is rested, but they're terrible. They're not good at all. Presley's the only guy in that bullpen that I trust. Again, like I always say, Porter Hodge can strike some guys out. I'm not a Porter Hodge guy. And then as far as the Dodgers bullpen is concerned, I told you guys coming into the year that Tanner Scott wasn't a closer, and you all said, oh, you're a hater now. When he was on the Padres, you would have loved him. No, we got him to get Ohtani out. That was his job. We did not get him to close games. He is not a closer. You still have problems in that bullpen, Dodger fans. But regardless, he's went 2 of the last 3 days. Kirby Yates went yesterday. Alex Vesia gave it up yesterday for 27 pitches. Yep. So even if Suter comes in, or if it's Tony the Cat Gonsolin, you're going to see guys like Evan Phillips, who's been shaky, Kasperius, who's been somewhat decent. I don't really put too much stock into Jack Dreyer right now. I think he's beat up on some bad teams, but we'll see what happens. But this Cubs offense is just too damn good. This Dodgers offense is too damn good. Over 9.
Someone in the comments said Cubs fans are the worst people on earth, and the comment came from someone named Sox Nation. It's a White Sox fan. Let's move on. Sox Nation.
Oh, Cubs 4.5. Cubs 4.5 -110 is actually interesting. I didn't see that. That's pretty interesting. I didn't see that one.
We got Colorado Rockies.
Shout out Rockies. Shout out Royals.
Yeah, this one was awesome.
I'm gonna vomit. I had the Royals run line last night. I'm gonna fucking vomit.
Me and Toast took first 5 under 4.5. It was 0-0.
Great job. No, to be honest, that was the play. Feltner is not that bad on the road. He's their best pitcher, which doesn't mean anything, but he's not terrible on the road. The Royals offense is like, pull the fucking plug on them.
Pull the plug. You had the Rockies coming out of Coors, traveling across the country to face Bubik. They weren't scoring in the first 5.
I honestly thought we were going to get 2 or 3 off the Rockies bullpen, right? That was the thing. The Rockies bullpen is the saving grace for run lines. Dude, it's 2-zip, 2 outs, 2 strikes, nobody on, and I'm like, okay, wrap the fucking pitch up. And Estevez, walk, and then it's like Stallings, and you're like, all right, 2 strikes on Stallings, who's like a terrible hitter, legit terrible hitter. Bases clearing double. I wanted to just jump in front of a fucking train yesterday. It sucked. That sucked. Losing those is the worst, you know.
What are you gonna do in this one today?
I couldn't even look at it. I couldn't even look at it because Lorenzen, I have my history with Lorenzen also. You know, he's very unpredictable. He's like, because I model all this stuff. I put up the data for everybody every day. It's always formatted. Now, red and blue, right, hot and cold, whatever. Lorenzen is like the ultimate jag, like just a guy. All of his stuff is just white. That's the color in the middle. He doesn't do anything great. 4.5 ERA, 4.2 Sierra, 7% walk. It just, everything is blah, blah, blah. He's got to survive on the ground ball, but he also gets hit hard sometimes. So I don't know. I can't stomach him, but it's also impossible to ask for anything from the Rockies offense. Maybe when the Rockies play the Royals, it's just a blind under, like no matter what it is. Because I can't back anybody in this game. German Marquez has not been good either, right? He's been gross this year. Forget that half season we got from him 3 years ago where he looked like a damn Cy Young. He's got, an 8.25 ERA this season? Yeah, 1.8 whip. If Kansas City is ever going to score, it's got to be today.
I'm putting under up too. That's what he said last night. I was just like under or pass. I'm not. German Marquez used to cash some bets for me back in the day. I have a soft spot for him. Toast, what do you think here?
I played the over last night at over 8.5 minus 110. Couple things. For starting pitching wise, Marquez has been absolutely terrible. And the fact that, again, I 100% agree with John that I think that the Royals offense, if they're going to get right at some point, today would be the day to get right for them. 4 runs back-to-back nights. That's a big positive for this Royals team. As sad as that sounds, that's a big positive for this Royals team right now.
Against the Rockies, that's bad.
Okay, so that's the first thing. The second thing is that I honestly think that both pitchers can give up a couple runs. I'm not trying to make a case that we cash this bet in the first 5, but I do think that it's more than likely that both of these guys give up a couple runs. That's the first thing.
Wait,
the second
Toast,
thing is,
I sorry to interrupt you, but we have a comment, and this is something you want to hear. Someone said he's at the game. Michael Lorenzen just got bit by a spider in warm-ups.
Oh, so he's going to pitch a no-hitter, right?
I was going to say, is that like a Corbin thing?
Yeah, Corbin, that's the new thing that you get bit by radioactive spiders and you go nuts.
So I just wanted to make sure that didn't change your handicap, knowing Lorenzen has been bitten by a spider.
I don't know if Lorenzen has the same type of antibodies that the king goat catcher Corbin has, but you never know.
different type of bloodstream for sure.
Yeah, I agree with that. And then as far as before I get to the bullpens, I just wanted to touch on the weather. We'll do bullpens really quick anyway because I'm right there. Bullpens. Rockies aren't going to have their top 2 arms. They both went 2 of the last 3 days, and they both blew saves yesterday. So that's a good spot there. And then the same thing goes with the Kansas City side. They're really not in the best shape right now. I just will scroll past it. What did I do? Oh, there they go. Estevez, who was actually terrible yesterday, went 3 of the last 4 days. Yeah, Schreiber and Lynch have both went 2 of the last 3 days. Lynch 3 of the last 4, 3 of the last 4, excuse me. And Eckridge went yesterday as well. So really not in great spots for these bullpens. And then on top of that, we have really decent weather in Kauffman Stadium. Don't worry about the home run parts if you're following along on like Ballpark Pal, but we're going to getting close to 80 degrees here in a ballpark where it's really, really big. And if there's one thing that I know about these two teams is they have a whole bunch of fast guys. I mean, look at the Rockies. I mean, Beck, Moniak, Veen, Goodman, Martini, all in the upper echelon as far as sprint speed. Same thing goes with Kansas City, Garcia, Bobby Witt, Jonathan India, Kyle Isabel. All these guys were fast. So if we get a couple balls in the gaps, it's going to be, like I say, somebody put a quarter in the merry-go-round and everybody's just going to be running around those bases. So I think we actually see some runs here tonight. So yeah, over 8.5 for me.
All right.
I'm modeled right on that for the record. I'm modeled right there. Another one where the 4-4 gets you to 9. That's where I have this one. Something's got to give. I think you did. Yeah, I think the weakness in the bullpen is this is a perfect example of when you kind of use that. They weren't good in the first place. They're all hanging by a fucking thread. And you could say what we want about teams sucking. The offenses are bad. They're independent events. These guys can hit. They could score any given day. The Rockies got Bobby Miller, right? The 3 days after they looked like they were never going to score another run, they hung 7. It happens.
Next up is Blue Jays Astros, and I gotta say, this is disgusting. I did this. I just want to come out and say this before I put this up. I'm not proud of myself that I took Toronto money line. Like I didn't really sleep well after placing the bet. This is disgusting. I had Toronto first 5 money line yesterday. Thought it was a great matchup for Bassett. Gave up 3 runs in the first inning. Here we are, and I'm saying the same freaking thing. I think
Babbitt to death, though, man. Those were all. He had 4 singles in the first. They were all.
One was an infield single. Yeah. It definitely had a little bit of bad luck. But
I should have known better.
I think.
Yeah, why? I'm not a big Blanco guy either. I thought he might get touched, but
same here.
Well, Bowden Francis has an 0.82 whip against right-handed bats. 0.82 with a 214 WOBA. An 0.82 whip and a 214 WOBA against right-handed bats. Now, against lefties, he's a little bit more vulnerable. And again, we're talking about, 4 starts into the season? We're talking about a limited sample size here. But this dude has elite numbers against right-handed bats. Why am I bringing this up? Because all the Astros have are right-handed bats. How many are projected to be in the lineup today? 8.
Wow, so everybody but Jordan. Just Jordan is the only one?
Yeah, everyone except Jordan Alvarez is a righty.
Yeah.
So you got Bowden Francis, elite numbers against righties. The Houston Astros, 8 righties projected to be in the lineup today. I think it should be a great matchup here for Bowden Francis. Not to mention the Blue Jays bullpen has been pretty good this year. It's rested. I went with Toronto. I got I think a -103, -104, something like that. So it should be about the same price. You probably got the same exact number I did last night. -104 on FanDuel is available. To be honest, I think that's the exact same bet I got last night. So it hasn't moved. I'm on Toronto. It's disgusting. Toast, you with me?
Yeah, as disgusting as it is. The only thing I can really add about Bowden Francis versus the Astros is, for one, I don't really trust this Astros lineup, and for two, they've really struggled with fastballs, and that's primarily what you're going to see from Bowden Francis. You're going to get he's just going to feed fastballs to you over and over and over again. So, and if you can hit him, good luck. I don't think that Houston's going to be able to hit him today. I know that their offense is starting to kick into gear a little bit the last couple nights, but as they talked about before, it was a little. I don't want to say a 5-1 victory was lucky, but it definitely could have looked a lot closer than it really was. So, again, on top of the fact that you have, like I said, Bowden Francis, who I'm not really a big fan of at all. I think everybody knows that. But him with a fully rested Toronto bullpen behind him, I will definitely take that. Hader, Abreu, and King all went yesterday. King is 2 of the last 3 days, but only 16 pitches over the last 4 days. I wouldn't worry about him. Everybody's available, but the familiarity and all that stuff, it's nice for me. So I'll take Toronto at this short price. I'm not going to lie. When I bet this last night, I thought this was going to be like a pick of -115 today. So I was a little bit wrong on that, but I'm still good with where I'm at.
We got Benji in the comments. He's been cashing on props recently. Bowden, bankroll Francis. He's on over K's there for those of you who want to tail Benji. And real quick, Steez of the day is Baltimore first 5 run line. I forgot to mention it before. So he is 2-0. Steez has not lost one yet. He's on Baltimore first 5 run line. You can get that at like +105. John, do you think we're crazy for going with the Jays here?
No, I bet the same thing. I went back to the well with the Toronto F5 for the same reason. Although I really should be talking smack about the Astros offense, the way the Blue Jays are hitting right now. Blue Jays are reaching like royal territory. Last 7 days, we're talking 220 team plate appearances. They're batting 205, sub 100 ISO, bomb to barrel chase rate, 254 WOBA, 66 WRC plus. I mean, that implies like 3 runs, which is fucking pretty.
Was that versus everybody or just
No, that's
righties?
everybody. But Toronto's been also particularly bad versus righties on the season, batting 235.
I asked because they're another one of those teams where, like the Dodgers versus lefties, Blue Jays have seen Hunter Brown, Luis Castillo, Logan Gilbert, Brian Wu, Spencer Strider, Schwellenbach, Walker Buehler, Tanner Houck. So they've seen a lot of very good righty stars. That's why I asked, because I do think that those numbers look bad, but I do think they can only get better. I guess that's my point.
At this point in the season now, so we're at 714 plate appearances, and this is one place where being a fantasy nerd actually comes in handy, right? Because when you get to a sample that starts to resemble a season, it gives you a good idea of where they stand. So if I were to tell you that a player gave you 714 plate appearances, like, wow, that's a full healthy season. 9 homers, 12 steals, 235 average, 85 WRC plus, 5% barrel, 313 xWOBA, and you're like, oh my God, you got to send this guy down. But this is a team, not a guy. Like, I don't know. I don't really know what's happening. Listen, I guess I kind of understand. the Blue Jays are very top heavy. But that said, the heavy part of the top heavy should be really fucking heavy. Yo, Guerrero, Bichette, Santander, Springer, Menace. These guys are really, really good. I get the bottom. Then there's the horse drawing, right? Looks great in the beginning, and the end is fucking pretty terrible. Luke's and whatever the hell else they're going with. Clement and these guys.
Miles Straw.
Yeah, they're not very good. They're not very good. But yeah, I'm going to just hope that Francis keeps his magic going. You made a very good point with the fastball stuff. I think Francis does a very good job alternating between the four-seamer and the splitty because he goes up. And that's where his command and control comes in handy. When he throws the four-seamer high, he's very good at missing up and out of the zone. And then the splitty drops off the fucking table. That's been the kind of key to his success. So we have to hope that the right-handed stuff for the Astros sticks, though I have to admit, anytime Paredes is hitting in that ballpark, well, this guy lives to pull the ball. I mean, those boxes were made for him. So he's a little bit nerve-wracking. But yeah, give me Francis in Toronto at 5, man. Toronto's got to get some runs going today.
Paredes is like an enigma to me. Like all of the numbers look good because he like doesn't strike out. He can take his walks, but there's just no power. There's no speed. It's all pull. Like I don't know. Yeah. I'm just not the biggest Paredes.
What about Mr. Me Gusto? We didn't even mention this guy. Like they're trying to stretch him out, and now I'm stuck between. We have a reliever who's being stretched out into a starter. He's really kind of struggled in the starter role. But yeah, Houston's another team that I do believe in to maximize. So hopefully we'll go back to the well and get him for something. I don't really know much about him, to be honest.
Nate Moon in the comments said he's taking the Houston ass cheek tros. White Sox on the run to Minnesota. I think Festa should pitch pretty well, but I really have no interest in
4 1/3.
Yeah, it's
4
like
2/3.
David Festa making a start. It's like pricing a plate full of shit at -250, and it's like it's like an expensive plate of shit. What do you think, John? Anything to say? Me and Toast passed on this one.
Yeah, how could you pay the freight? Right, that's the problem. Festa should absolutely shove this team around. Bryce Wilson, who's basically sent my family to Disney World a few times in the past, being so terrible, is up for the White Sox. I don't know. Yeah, I just can't pay the freight. I just can't pay the freight. And the Twins bullpen's going to be taxed out, right? Because didn't they go? I felt like they all went yesterday, and they sucked also. Yeah,
2 of the last 3 for Durand
and he threw 32 pitches.
Farland or whatever.
Yeah. Jack's got the hold, but he's been hanging on by a freaking thread. Yeah, I would pass, but you got to think the Twins. Man, if the Twins are worth their weight in salt, they get the easy cover today, you know?
I was going to say, you could put, if you want to lay the juice of the Twins' first 5 run line, that's the only way I would look. If anything else would be only the White Sox at the full game price. I mean,
what about the Baldelli joke? It's real now. Festa's getting through 4 innings with 65 pitches and getting pulled in scoreless games. No one understands what's going on. Baldelli's
76 last time against the Mets. So I think that he's starting to get stretched out a little bit more. So it's gradually gone up a little bit, but I think they wanted to get him out of there with Detroit. I will say this is a really good sticking point because if he is pitching well, why would they take him out unless they have a reason
Baldelli's
to?
on crack cocaine.
Oh, I know. I love Rocco though.
I put up Twins -1.5 because that's the way I'd bet it. I didn't even pull it up. I was looking at it last night, and it looked like a pretty good matchup for Festa. So I'm not betting that.
Maybe a White Sox team first 5 team total under. Actually, never mind. That would be so juicing small.
Yeah, hell no.
Probably, yeah.
Pirates, Angels. A lot of people are liking the Angels here. I know Toast is on the Angels. A couple of people in the Discord like the Angels. Even Rockrolled, our resident diehard Pittsburgh Pirate fan, said he is on the Angels. So yeah,
Pirate came through huge for me last night though too. That's part of the reason why I wanted to go back to the.
Yeah, that was a nice hit, plus 164 or whatever.
Yeah, I had a huge bet on. Well, not a huge bet, but a huge plus price with the Pirates, which was really nice. So sweat free. I just again, I think this is. I'm actually kind of curious to hear what John's thoughts are on.
Let's let John go first. Toast is on.
Just because I know everybody knows that I love Kokonowitz, and I know that he hasn't looked great the last couple nights, but I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are.
He was my boy. We've now broken up because
I know. I think we're not talking right now either. But yeah,
he's not doing the things that I need. He's not doing what I needed from him. Right?
He does have spurts though, where like he has a bad inning and then pitches 4 great innings, and you're like, there you go, Jack. That's the guy I know and love.
Yeah, and again, you're not going to expect any kind of strikeouts from him, which is fine. I
Right.
was fine with that because a guy like him was throwing the lead ball, living in the zone. That walk rate popping is really an issue for a guy like him. He
Yes,
can't afford
agreed.
to be out of the zone because he doesn't have the stuff when he falls behind to put guys away. He's been getting barreled. He's been getting yoked. Every time I show up with you guys, anytime there's like the game that everyone's on, I'm going the other way. I already bet Pirates F5 I think I got him as a pretty nice dog also. Yeah, it moved a little bit in my direction, which I guess is okay. But I think I got Pirates F5 plus 120. I would still take the plus 112 that I'm looking at now. Haney is matured, right? Haney's kind of making that step into pitcher, right? From thrower to pitcher. The stats have been, again, fantastic for bettors, right? He's not like going out and blowing guys away, which is not what we want from him. But the stuff that I look for is all in place. I mean, 34% ball is fantastic, leading to the 6% walk. He's getting ahead. He's inducing chases, 44 ground ball, 22 hard hit, half a homer 9, right? That's all the stuff that we like to look for. This Angels team, we kind of had a feeling they were going to be very streaky. Right now, they're in the bottom of that sine wave. As a team, they're batting 177 this week. That's a 43 WRC plus. Battling lefties has been their weak suit the entire season. 265 OBP, sub 4% walk. They don't put the ball in the air. 25% hard hit rate as a team against lefties. So I want to be very careful parsing this because the Pirates offense kind of fucking sucks. Like, they're pretty terrible. Although right now they've been okay. I think they're maybe a little bit better than the Angels as far as the model speaks going into today. So I think we've got the edge. I think Pirates at plus money. I think Haney kind of shoves. I think the Angels kind of suck. I wouldn't pay juice, but
Toast is on the direct other side. He's on Angels first 5 minus the half run.
Wow, let's go. Haney, listen, if the argument's Haney regression, like
I before Toast goes, I will say I don't want to say I side with John. I wouldn't bet the Pirates first 5, but I could see Heaney pitching well. I mean, the Angels have been ass against lefties. I kind of like Heaney. I think he's kind of gets a bad rap. He's not terrible. So Toast, go ahead.
He's not the gas can he was anymore.
Yeah, you're not going to hear me say that Heaney's bad. He's one of those guys that I love to back and, getting a huge plus price or anything like that. This wasn't me trying to fade Mr. Heaney. I will say, though, I did want to fade him coming off of his 7-inning performance against Washington. Only one start on the road this year. I'm sorry, only 2 starts on the road this year. 1 Cincinnati, 1 Miami. Hard to really judge anything right there. But for me, it was just I don't really trust this Pirates offense at all. I know that they just seem to have all these blips in the radar where they score 2-0 to 2-0, then they score a 10, and then they throw a 6 up and a 7 spot. I just kind of call bullshit on this. I think Jack can pitch kind of well today, and this Angels offense is it's been sputtering. I will give them that. But again, I just don't really trust Andrew Heaney. So Trevor was on this one too. I kind of tailed Trevor on this one as well. I know that the Pirates bullpen isn't in great shape, but really Santana's went 2 of the last 3 days with 11 pitches. He's available. I actually think that everybody's probably available for the Pirates. Not that their bullpen's good or anything like that, but I just figured I just wanted to deal with the first 5. I think that the Angels can get out here and score a couple runs early, but we'll see what happens. It's not one of my favorite plays.
Let's move on to the next one. And if it ain't broke, I went right back to it. My biggest bet last night was I laid the big juice minus 156 with the Snakes money line. Got a minus 134 in this one. I don't really understand. John, how many road games do you think the Rays have won this year?
Gotta go to the bathroom. I'll be back.
Well, I know from speaking to you last time, their schedule was very home heavy. So I don't know, maybe like 3 or 4. Is it 3 or 4?
They're the only team in baseball that has not won a single road game.
Wow, interesting.
They've only played 4. They're 0-4. It's very strange.
It's interesting they've only had 4 road games.
Yeah, they started off with like 18 home games, 3 road games. They got swept in Texas. This is their second road series of the year. They started out by losing 5-1 to the Snakes last night. And the way I described the Diamondbacks are pretty... Last night, I still think it's a little bit of a buy low. If you rewind before that series in Wrigley, where Arizona dropped 2 out of 3, I mean, they were 8-1 in a 9-game stretch, and they were looking really sharp. And it seems like that series in Wrigley kind of like the market just kind of sold their stock in the Diamondbacks, because right after that, now they're back home, and I still think this is a very doable price here. I'm not an Eduardo Rodriguez guy, but I'm certainly not a Taj Bradley guy against a bunch of lefties. Are you nuts? So just like yesterday, I was fading Littell against all those strong lefty bats in the Diamondbacks lineup. Same thing. I'm fading Bradley against all those strong lefty bats in the Diamondbacks lineup. I got a minus 134. I think that's a great price. Went right back to it. If it ain't broke, Snakes money line. John, what do you think?
Yeah, I could get to that.
It's
I had
160 now? Holy shit.
Is it
Sorry.
really?
Guys.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had Arizona in a money line parlay, so we got that pretty easily. Although it was paired with the Twins, and they gave me a fucking
they made
aneurysm
you
at
work
the
for
end.
it.
Yeah, they shouldn't have. Again, it was just this bottom of the ninth stuff. I thought it was all wrapped up.
What a
All
catch,
those
though,
ones.
by Byron Buxton, though, huh?
No
Holy
shit, dude. He saved
Wow.
my ass. Although it's funny because I had mixed feelings because he actually blew up we had a really nice total base parlay going. He was the last piece. He didn't get it done with the stick. Whoever was going for Chicago yesterday. Anyway, yeah, I think I'm with you on the Arizona side. I can't stomach the juice this time around. I think I like maybe Bradley more than the market. All the underpinning stuff is screaming that one of these really good starts is coming.
Smoked.
The expected ERA is at 3.7. The stuff plus on the fastball is checking out. The swing and strike is there. He's winning in the zone. You know, I just seeing I don't know. I think the underpinning stuff is all pretty strong. He's at 27 hard hit, just 5 barrel. I guess he's gotten touched by righties, but it's like been BABIP driven a touch. So I was actually more towards the under. I didn't bet this one, but the bet that I was closer to was under 4.5 on the F5. But like that said, I do have Arizona ahead, but it'd be more like 2-0, 2-1, 3-1, which kind of checks both boxes. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of with you on Arizona. I'm not buying the Rays bats against lefties or on the road. So that's why I kind of like the Arizona side. But I'm not. I think Bradley is better than expected. I think people looking at a 5.25 ERA and maybe throwing the baby out with the bathwater.
Toast, you take the Snakes with me?
Yeah, I bet him last night. I think I was the one that said you're getting there, but you just got to do it. So yeah, I'm all over it. I'm pretty sure Sauce talked about all the reasons that I liked it as well, but I just wanted to say that the Rays haven't played road games. That's a huge thing for me. On top of the fact that I do think that the Snakes, I know that we've talked, I honestly, I feel like we wouldn't even have gotten close to a minus 135 with this team. Excuse me. If they would have won like 2 out of the 3 games in Chicago. And keep in mind, the one game that they lost in Chicago on Saturday was 2-6. They lost that game. But the other game that they won, and then the other game they scored 11 runs and lost. So I don't even think they played bad in Chicago. I just think they got a little bit more unlucky than anything.
The win was crazy in that game.
I was going to say, and you could argue that the win was more lucky than anything. So it was just a weird series in general. So to what the Arizona has done off of righty starters, if you take away what that Chicago series where they still were scoring somewhat runs. I mean, Cabrera they got to, Max Meyer they got to, Gillespie they got to, Kramer, Morton. I will give you that Taj Bradley is a little bit better than those guys. Sure, I will give you that. But I'm sure Sauce also touched on the fact that he really struggles with lefty bats. So Carroll, Perdomo, Smith, Naylor, Alec Thomas, all tough. Lefty bats. So I think it's
what
another
about the ballpark? You know what I mean? Like the other side of Tampa is being stuck at home all the time. It's kind of a detriment for the pitchers being, in a place where everything seems to go out. And I think maybe that's part of it too. I think with the move from the road, I think that behooves Bradley. By the way, that total I was just talking about, that F5 just went to U5. It's juice though. So you could 4.5 still probably the baseline bet, but I see a U5 minus 123. And if that one's still out there when we get off, I think I may be on that one.
Just to finish my point really quickly, as far as Tampa and stuff like that, they're not only is Tampa Bay not scoring versus left-handed pitching in general, they're really not scoring at all over the last week. I mean, 1-0, they put a 10 spot of the Yankees on that Saturday game, but you take that 10 spot away, it's a 1, a 0, a 0, a 3, and a 0. So they're not scoring runs right now. I have a hard time believing they're just going to randomly figure out how to hit left-handed pitching with Eduardo Rodriguez. So I'm all over the Snakes today.
Sure.
Yep, we're polling heavy on the Snakes, but we were yesterday as well. Next up, Milwaukee Giants. What are your thoughts on fastball Freddie and the swirling winds of San Francisco here, John?
Yeah, I think you got to get back on the Peralta train. I think I might have mentioned this with you guys yesterday, but now they've been making it a point of mention on the broadcast all the time that, like, apparently he's got these really long fingers, but that they needed to. It was affecting his changeup, and so they worked all offseason on his grip, the changeup grip for Peralta, which once was like a money pitch, then got away. And if you actually track the performance of that pitch, it's kind of correlated with how Peralta's done overall. So now with that pitch correcting, we've seen Peralta, he's been legit lights out. You know what I mean? Like the best version of Peralta, 191, 102 ERA whip combo. All the indicators are loving it. He's reducing hard contact. He's keeping the ball in the yard. He's even cut the walks down. And Logan Webb all of a sudden is striking out the freaking world. So, like, I wouldn't really touch this one because the totals are so low. I think it was like
hell no. I was actually considering
3.5
over.
So, yeah, I'm just watching.
I was actually considering an over just because it's so crazy low. The Brewers lineup seems to be coming to life. Logan Webb doesn't look the same. Fastball Freddie is always down to get shelled once in a while. I think I'd go over. I didn't bet this because this ballpark's crazy. The swirling winds. So I'll just put over
6.5.
It's 6.5 now.
6.5. Oh my gosh, man, they are just daring me right now.
Not only 6.5, it's at 6.5 minus 110. It's a flat 6.5.
I was going to say the 3.5 is minus 105. That is highly irregular. That's when people that's when you go to the weather. And funny enough, I know you're saying swirling, but I got 10 miles an hour out to left center.
That's from last year. Toast used to always talk about when the winds were swirling at San Francisco, nobody could score. So I make fun of him. I didn't actually see that the wind.
Left center is a positive. That's a positive indicator for wins.
I was gonna say I got 55 degrees wind blowing straight out at 15 miles.
No, that's me making fun of Toast when I say.
No, yeah, I know.
Winds.
I know that. I was just telling John that that's what the weather is today.
Yeah,
that was a direct shot at me, John. I knew that. I felt it.
John, last year he went on like a 10-minute rant about the swirling winds in San Francisco. And I was like, dude, what are you doing?
Wait, hold on, but didn't they do something there? Didn't they move a wall or?
I thought that was Cleveland. I think you're talking about Cleveland.
No, it was Cleveland also, and that affected the left-handed hitters. But San Francisco's might have actually been 2 years ago that there was some adjustment that they made that turned it into like a hitters type of park. Toast, I'm seeing what you see now, and it's weird. Listen, weather kind of is what it is. I try and mix between. Covers has a good page, and I like Kevin Roth at RotoGrind has a good page. But yeah, I'm seeing wind blowing out double digits. Man, 6.5. That actually moved down since I modeled this morning.
It was 7.
It was 7 last night.
Dude, I'm way over the 6.5. I'm way over the 6.5. Again, you just got to get to 3.3. So I have both teams modeled over 3.6, which again is not like a heavy number, but modeling 3.6 as a mean outcome gets you to 3 in the distribution curve the majority of times. So I've got a 3.3 gain to 7 on this one. I got to go over 6.5. I have to.
Should we bet? I might be down to bet this with you. Toast, you bet this?
And the price, I have to do it. Because of the pricing, I have to do it.
Toast, what do you think?
I would agree with the over. I have no issues with that, especially at 6.5. I think everybody. I was going to get to that. Yeah. I just don't know what to expect from Freddie Peralta. I think that everybody knows that I am not a big fan of Freddie Peralta. I will say that he's looked pretty decent this year. That being said, I do think that most guys with his skill level is going to pitch well against guys like Kansas City and Colorado and especially Oakland on the road at times. So he did look decent against Arizona and the Yankees. So I will give him that. So both of those are obviously road starts as well. I just don't know what to think. I don't know what to think of him. Logan Webb has only pitched, like one game at home in a long time. And that game was against Cincinnati where he looked really, really good against them, but doesn't really have, got lit up by this Milwaukee team last year. I don't know. I kind of lean Giants just because of the Giants bullpen. And I do with Logan Webb at home and a fully rested bullpen behind him, but Milwaukee versus right-handed pitching is legit, and they're putting up some serious runs. I mean, I get that they're on the road today, but I mean, over the last few games, 11-2, 14-1, 5-5, and 5. I mean, so this offense has been all right. In that Monday game against San Francisco, I don't think anybody thought they were going to score in the first place. So it would only be over or San Francisco for me, but I don't really have a strong indication. If you guys are both going to play the over, I'll jump in with you for some fun. But
as a
I'll
West
bet
Coast guy,
this.
what do you make of this crazy? Again, if you told me Peralta, I was just looking at it now. If you're into the nerdy kind of diagnostic stuff, Peralta's added extension. He's also added several hundred RPMs on multiple pitches, and the whiff rates are through the fucking roof. But Logan Webb, we've never seen this from him before, right? If I told you, hey guys, Peralta made an adjustment and his strikeout stuff took off, you'd say, oh, okay, he's kind of had that in his bag. That's never really been a Webb thing. Webb is striking out 33% of batters this year.
I thought Webb was a ground ball guy.
He is. He's really.
I was going to say it's not sustainable.
Yeah, I mean, he's really pitched.
Well, if the RPMs are up.
To contact. No. That was Peralta. Peralta.
Oh.
Peralta. All his diagnostic stuff right now is through the fucking roof. Hold on, I have this up. Check this shit out. This is absolutely insane. So the changeup, he added an inch of extension, 100 RPM. The whiff rate's at 49. The curveball added 200 RPM, an inch of extension. His whiff rate on his curveball is 68. The whiff rate on his slider is 77. These numbers are fucking cartoonish, is the only word. And now, granted, there's going to be some regression. They're going to come back to the mean. There are some numbers, people, that even in small samples, you have to raise a fucking eyebrow to. Peralta is shoving right now.
And it's not like he saw the Yankees, he saw Arizona. It's not like he also saw the Rockies and the Royals, but he's seen some decent lineups.
No shit. And right. The Athletics are not bad at Arizona. And hey, that Colorado start was in cores. I don't know if we care that much about in cores during this type of weather, but it's something.
Just a weird data point.
Yeah, true.
Last game on the board, Rangers Athletics. We got Kumar Rocker against JP Sears. John, what do you think about this one?
I wish I knew, man. I'm a tremendous Rocker guy, and he's whipsawing the shit out of me. For anybody that doesn't know what that is, it's a trading term. That means like you change direction as the market changes direction against you, right? So I was high on Rocker. He looked really bad. I said, oh shit, sell the fucking shares. He looked really good. He was pushing the slider usage up, and that's a really nasty pitch. I mean, there's a guy who's always had strikeout stuff in the bag, and then just when you thought like we were kind of getting babied with the workload, didn't they let him? He like went last time, right? He went 7 innings out of nowhere after 3 1/3. He got through 7 innings on just 79 pitches. Efficiency was never really something that we saw from him. Against JP Sears, who I think the wheels are going to fall off for JP Sears, and I think he's really he's outpitched these peripherals. He's eventually going to get served because if you're going to be pitching to a 50+% fly ball rate in that ballpark, you are going to get smoked.
Not going to work.
Yeah, right. You're right. It's not going to work. My issue though too, because I wanted to pull the trigger on the Rangers was, I think they're going to be without Seager. Lineups are not out yet. It's a little bit late.
Man,
but I think he kills lefties though, and he's been he's a foundational piece in the offense. I mean, just as they get Langford back, they losing Seager. I think it was did he leave the game with a hamstring yesterday?
Yeah, he's not going to play today.
So he's not going to play today. So I don't know. I want to believe in the Rocker thing and like fade fucking Sears, but I'm also getting to the point where I'm very pitching centric. You could tell. I pump the brakes in these pinball kind of ballparks. So I'm probably just letting this one go. But I'm going to be watching my boy Rocker, because again, the totals went to 5 and also, which is weird, the totals I have 5 and 9, which is a little unusual, right? You wouldn't normally get 5 and 9. It's jumped to 9.5. So yeah, I'm just out.
Toast, you have anything in this one?
I don't. I would try to. I don't really know how to take advantage of Kumar Rocker. I don't really know if his splits versus lefties are actually legit or not. So I would look at somebody like maybe like a Lawrence Butler or Soderstrom as far as like hits, runs, and RBIs or something like that. I actually kind of lean under, to be honest with you guys. I know that that's disgusting, and I'm not going to play it. But you take Corey Seager out of that Rangers lineup. I mean, it's definitely. I know that he hasn't really been hitting for much power and stuff, but he's still getting a whole bunch of hits a game and stuff like that. Like 2 hits a game. Yeah, so I mean, you just take that out of the lineup. That's a lot, and I will give you that. I don't trust JP Sears to save my life, and maybe Texas still does score a lot, but I mean, I cashed an Oakland team total over 4.5 last night in kind of dramatic, lucky fashion.
You got late, yeah, baby.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not in love with this Oakland offense as we speak right now, so it would be under or Texas for me. But again, I'm not betting it. I feel like that's 9.5 is high, especially without Corey Seager in that lineup.
All right, that is the end. John, where can the fine people find your stuff?
Oh, love it. Check me out at John Legaza on Twitter. Same handle on Substack. You can go sniff that stuff around for free. I really have a fucking ton of stuff, man. It's really 5 pounds of shit in a 2-pound box. Yeah, it's just $2 a week, and if you sign up for the year, it's actually $1.69. And I have football stuff going to be coming. I have stats and projections and all bets and all that stuff. But I'm up before the crack of dawn. Like I say, few things guaranteed in this life. Death, taxes, bears shitting in the woods, and me up before the crack of dawn. It's stats and just everything. The model is out, full game, F5. I run a hitter model for total bases. If you're into like the prize pick underdog stuff, I have people that do really well on that. All the implied team totals. If you like to play daily specials or all team totals, again, I like to let my followers and stuff do the talking for me. Just check the timeline on Twitter, and it's different people in different markets every freaking day, man. Because that's what it is. It's really it was my war room before I went public with content creation. So there's a million ways to skin that cat without scratching his asshole. And if you're a huge baseball nerd, you should definitely check it out.
His Twitter handle is tagged on my page for this. If you go look at the last tweet, it's
check
tagged
it out. It's actually right there down there too.
All right, everyone, go enjoy your day. Bet responsibly. If you're in the betting league, you have till 6 p.m. to submit your picks. But if you want to bet one of the early games, I would get it in sooner, because once the time passes, obviously you can't pick a game that has already started.